Have you ever been in a difficult situation in life where, well, you're stuck in between a rock and a hard place, you know? All decisions are bad. You're just trying to minimize psychological damage, really. Yeah, I understand that. I've been through hardship in life too. In fact, all hardship I've endured pales in comparison to the indescribable sorrow when I realized that the footage I had recorded for part 4 of Cry Better Yet Beg was unusable, and that I would have to record it all over again. Now, if you've seen anything about this comic, you know why I'm saying this. Sometimes you just have to power through and remember that, there's a calm coming after the storm. Yeah. What a lovely story that was. I'm trying not to be too upset by me having to reread it. Like I said, if you have not seen any of the previous episodes, don't worry. I'm literally the one who not only read that, but edited it and then posted it, and I don't remember much. I'll give you the very brief context that you may need. Recap speedrun. Layla's a 12-year-old orphan with whom her relatives play hot potato. Eventually, she ends up in the care of her distant relative, Bill Remmer, the groundskeeper for the Herhard Duchy. Uncle Bill likes to keep up the pretense that he's unsure if he'll keep her, but he ends up saying that for so long that she's 18 and he's still yapping about will I not? Or, well, in his case, will he not? As Layla ages, Duke Matthias Herhart, which I like to call Matthias, the way all he does is Dookie, takes a perverted interest in her. And when I say this man is a literal sadist, I mean it. He steals her glasses and hides them to see her struggle to find them. He enjoys a front row seat to Layla nearly drowning and only saves her after watching her gulp down a couple liters of water. He kills birds to watch her mourn and bury them. In other words, he enjoys seeing her cry, or better yet, beg. Anyway, Claudine, Matthias's fiancée-to-be, also likes to air her frustrations on Layla. It doesn't entirely make sense why she is also dead set on making Layla suffer, while the story seems to chalk it up to a combination of wounded ego and envy. Claudine, under the pretense of a kind graduation gift, invites Layla to a fancy gathering in hopes to humble, shame her. And that's where we last left off. Oh, and Layla has a childhood friend named Kyle who has a crush on her. And the Duke skinny dips one time for no reason. Time. How's that? Summarizing 25 episodes just like that. Now we're all on the same page. So, the Duke realizes Claudine's plan, and he isn't happy. He says, verbatim, that pleasure must be mine, and mine alone. I'm no good at sharing what's mine with others. Let me translate that from gross evil man language to English. Claudine can't torture Layla, because only I can do that. He secretly replaces the clothes Uncle Bill bought for Layla for the event with some crazy expensive ones. And to be honest, the dress he chooses is just as ugly, but more expensive. Why does it look like Cinderella's dress after it gets shred up by her evil stepsisters? Riddle me this, Batman. Why does it look like Cinderella's dress when it gets shred? Like, at the event, Matthias and Claudine humiliate Layla. Claudine does this by airing Layla's lore in front of other guests. Matthias does this by stealing her shoes. Yeah, I know, but store that thought for later. Claudine starts exposing Layla's lore just like she did to her mom and her miscarriages. Like, hello? Close your big ass mouth, please. After enduring all of that, Layla decides to take a breather on the balcony. Unfortunately, Claudine and Matthias unite, sort of like Power Rangers, but
if the Power Rangers assembled to become more worst sadists.
Again, why do they draw her so creepily at times? Like, she's scary in there. Also, this panel, these proportions are so Sojin. Sojin? The guy with the black hair. Oh, don't think of that. Wow, yeah, that's how insightful. Ugh. She's gonna be like, oh, it's because she likes the Duke. When in reality, it's because she's fucking traumatized by him.
They kiss in front of her, and Layla, reminded of that traumatizing near kiss when Matthias, runs away. She hides in the garden waiting for Kyle, but obviously Kyle isn't the one to find her. Matthias is.
Damn, she's quick for someone in heels. Leave her alone. Oh my god. Oh my god. You know, the heels are already full of blood. You might as well just, like, throw one or two in his face. Just a suggestion. Just a thought. Can you stop, like, robbing her? Does he have a thing for thievery as well? A thing for thievery? Yeah, that's actually exactly what he wants. Yep, he does, actually. He does think it's fun to torment you like that. Okay. Wow. Okay, we're just being that. I did not think we would get to the point where he is admitted to it multiple times. I did not think that. But despising you makes me feel good. What? It amuses me to watch you cry. Huh? And I enjoy seeing you beg. Hello, police? Police! I've got a fresh criminal for you. Oh my god, he said the thing! That's a sentence.
He steals her shoes, telling her to cry if she wants them back. She asks him why he's like this. Totally valid question, by the way, when this is what you're dealing with. And he replies, let's see, the reason I despise you. Despising you makes me feel good. It amuses me to watch you cry. And I enjoy seeing you beg. So Layla, cry. Or better yet, beg. How is this man not under maximum security guard? Finally, when she asks a waiter to tell Kyle she's leaving, Matthias delays the staff so she's left crying alone. It gets worse, I fear. He cannot end it there. No. He has to drop another fuck-ass line. Layla cried. She cried so prettily that I gladly returned her shoes. They were tears caused by me, and they belonged entirely to me. Amusingly enough, those tears washed away the wretched feeling I had when I saw Layla earlier.
They're hiding his front because right now he's hard as hell. I'm joking, but that's because if I don't joke, I'll cry. Just like her.
And I don't want to give him that satisfaction because he'd probably like that. There's then some drama between Kyle and Layla where she's like, oh, Kyle and I are meant to be friends. He's above me. Does not matter in the end. So I'll spare you from all of that. Yeah. Just know what happened. And then everything returns to usual. Nothing worse than what the Duke's been up to. Hell no. Hell no. What? Hell no.
God! We're flying to Philadelphia! Oh, hell no! That's hell no!
Oh, hell no. It's his gooner house. His gooner cave. Yeah. Oh my god. Stop. Do not go to the cottage. Ugh. Yeah, the line art's different. There's a lot more line weight on there. Did they hire someone else to do bodies, but kept the original artist for faces? I don't know, but it's certainly different. Personally, I am a sucker for a little bit of line weight. Not gonna lie. So, regardless of the comment, if we just cut it off here, great art. This is actually super good. It like scratches my brain in a great way. This, add the head on. Like, just because I dislike this comic, I can still admit what it does good, right? Don't get me wrong, I do hate the comic, right? That does not. The good aspects don't limit my hatred. Fear not. Base impulses. One afternoon, when Layla is alone at home, she ends up stuck in a tree. Unfortunately, there was a forecast for essay that day, I'm afraid. I put a written warning at the start of the video, but this section is really, really yucky. So if you want to stop watching here, I get that. If you'd like to skip this particular section, I'll put a timestamp called, I don't know. I don't know what I'll name it. Maybe like safe. But I'll make one so you can just like avoid this. Just know there will be a reference to it in the future, but I won't show any panels after this section. So, back to my least favorite war criminal. Bro, they better not. Of course they have him pull up instead. Of course they have him pull up instead. Yeah, you know, I would personally rather break both my ankles than call out to that man. Okay, she's not. I thought she was the one to let go, not the branch cracking. What? There was no sign of the branch cracking. Jump scare. If I saw what that is correctly, well, just know that I screamed. I actually screamed and then I started hitting my desk. But I will put a time skip where you can skip ahead. Ew. That is a yucky ass description. The large, firm body. Ugh. Let's see if I saw that right. No. Ah! No. That's right. No. Don't. Ah! It's as disgusting the second time as the first. Who would have thought? Right. You know, I was joking earlier about him getting hard to her suffering. But I guess it wasn't that much of a joke, huh? I guess it wasn't that much of a joke. I guess it was the truth. Oh my god. Ah! No! 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 He's forcing her to. No, but if I was him, I would be like, also equally, if not more, as embarrassed. I'd just be like, damn, how'd that rock get in my pocket? This is, woo! No, he genuinely gets hard to her, being in distress. Wow. Oh, wow. No, they just really gotta hammer that one home. My voice still hurts from that first scream. Stay still. No, you're forcing her to feel. Dog, 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 dog. It's one thing. No, but I think I would be done. What do you do to recover from? Honestly, if I was either party in this situation, but especially if I was Matthias, because, by doing this, I would simultaneously be doing the world a favor. I would probably just take an eternal nap. Maybe I take a nice dessert of rat poison with my next meal. If you're catching my drift. I don't think I could go on. What the fuck? And he refuses to let her go. It wasn't enough to already. Oh my god. It's not very gentlemanly to get a boner when you see a woman about to be injured. Oh, consider that. Have you considered that? This is okay. No, no, no. A true gentleman doesn't make his weird fetishes other people's problems. Keep it to yourself in appropriate consenting parties. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Bro, and he's forcing her to stay there. I am done. I'm tweaking out. I'm tweaking out. Oh my god. Oh my god. What the hell? Ah! Eh! I think I'm gonna blur that. I don't have to, but it's nasty. You can imagine what's going on by the context. Yeah. Ew! No, is he gonna keep this going? What? Imagine you receive the script for what you want to draw. You're not like the main artist or whatever. You get the script, and it's this. Ugh. They put the warning in that one episode. They should have put a warning for this too. Oh wow. Right. He starts assaulting her, and because she cries, it turns him on more. How is this a Webtoon original? How? That's the worst part to me. If this was just a comic someplace. But no. No, it's basically just endorsed by a pretty big company. Who approved this? Conveniently, the time Layla is stuck in a tree is when the Duke decides to visit. And by conveniently, I mean for not anyone except, like, him. But, whatever. Matthias offers to save her if she begs him to. As per usual, He watches her suffer for a long moment before eventually saving her. She lands on top of him, and he's, bricked up. Yeah. If he couldn't get any nastier, well, when I'm at the fuck-ass freaky competition and this MF shows up, uh-oh. She struggles against him and finally manages to push herself away, only for her to cabedon her to the grass. He then proceeds to not just kiss, but slobber all over her ear. And then he kisses her on the lips. Then the neck. They have this old banter, if you can call it that, about him not being a gentleman for, assaulting her. His reply is even worse than expected. It's not possible, even now, back then, and in every other moment, I have been restraining myself like a true gentleman. Gee. Thanks for that. As a display of gratitude, I'm sending 3,000 trained soldiers with bayonets to your current location. They aren't trained physicians, but they have been instructed to perform a circumcision on you, Matthias. Circumcising your head from your body, that is. Welcome back to Relative Safety, viewers who skipped the horrors. And I say relative because Matthias is unfortunately still alive. Speaking of, he has the audacity to act all emo after he assaulted someone. Look at this damn loser. But essay isn't all. He keeps calling her a child, which somehow makes what he's done even more disgusting, which I did not think was possible. The child has grown as much as the seasons had changed. He says after he just and then his emo ass shreds his hand on rose thorns. Layla, as expected from someone who has been freaking traumatized as she is not doing great. Unexpectedly, I kind of like how the story builds this. I know. This specific line about Matthias, his eyes resemble the color within my long-held memories. You have eyes like the color of my sorrow. Loki goes hard. If only Layla did not end up marrying this man skin-wearing turd. And Kyle. Oh, Kyle. Brother is even worse at reading a room than I am, which is a feat. He cannot bear the thought of being estranged with her, so he chooses this time, of all times, to propose. Indeed. Indubitably. C. He confesses his love to her to his father, and that he wants to attend college with her and marry her. After realizing Kyle is entirely serious about this, Dr. Edmund allows it, and even speaks with Bill. Finally, Kyle dolls himself up, finds her at her favorite spot, unfortunately horrible timing, and proposes with a bouquet. Layla, who just had a horrible time, no warning, and no input, obviously turns him down. Time skip. Yeah. Yeah. You thought the time skip from 1219 was the last major one there be, huh? You fool. Kyle has been proposing to Layla every day for the last year, even though she always rejects him. And Bill's struggling. He's now realized how much Kyle cares about Layla, and knows having her tuition covered by Dr. Edmund would be big. However, he also realizes just how adamant Layla is in her refusal. Still, not pretty good. Matthias is left to join the Royal Guard. Did I have a stroke mid-sentence? God damn. Matthias is left to join the Royal Guard. Claudine is back to the Brand estate. That is, until the Duke forgoes serving another year in the Guard as he'd originally planned, when he hears about Kyle's proposals. Yes. Kyle and Layla, currently in the city, take the university entrance exam. While Layla takes a solo tourism detour, she's jump scared by Matthias, who is once again conveniently just there. He more or less forces her to have tea with him, where he says Kyle is only marrying her out of pity. Buckle in. Another banger from Matthias. You never smile in my presence, yet you are also unable to hold back your tears. So, if tears are all I can give, then I will give you tears. If wounds are all I can offer, then I will wound you. Yep. What do you even say to that? What do you even say to that? Nothing. There's nothing you can say to that. The only reasonable response is to pull out a gun and set off a bit of a fireworks show, if you're catching my drift, because... And, if you thought Claudine and Matthias were a lot, well, another enemy has entered the ring. Linda. Kyle's mother, Linda, is so opposed to the idea of Layla marrying her son, she hires her brother to steal Layla's tuition money from Bill's house. Matthias, who of course was going to stir up some shit over there, witnesses this, but remains silent. Linda then meets Layla and admits to everything, with hopes of crushing her and her pride and having her dump Kyle. Which works because Layla initiates nothing in this plot. She is just an object that gets dragged along, like a tube tied to a speedboat. Okay, she's in a floaty behind a speedboat, okay? Which, for anyone who doesn't know, the protagonist is usually supposed to be the person pushing the story forward. Layla then admits to Kyle that she doesn't love him romantically, only as like a brother or friend, and that her desire to college allowed her greed to blind her, and that she was just using him. Her thought process is kind of, oh, I have no choice but to lose you to protect everyone. Because she doesn't want Kyle to lose his family or mom. And Kyle takes that, which normally it'd be like, okay. Except she does this all the damn time. He should know, no? Like, she literally rejected him for a year straight before finally kind of accepting. Kyle, I'm afraid Kyle is a simpleton. I'm afraid. Look, I do like I like him more than most of the other characters in the story, at least. But he's a simpleton. Like, he is not the brightest. I almost said brightest tool in the shed. Nah, you think I took that? I fear I took that. I took that role, actually. He's not the sharpest tool in the shed, shall we say. Layla is bedridden with sorrow for days. Meanwhile, Matthias sits back on his ass and enjoys the ride. I know paraphrasing is usually the go-to here, but like, the story just keeps on being like diarrhea. I was gonna say the gift that keeps on giving, but like, it's not a gift. It's like an endless stream of diarrhea. Anyways, Layla and Men provided Matthias with more entertainment than he expected. In fact, he found himself chuckling more than once as he listened to Hessen's report. It was like watching an absurd little play, especially when he thought of Layla, who had walked straight into the trap laid out for her. He hoped Layla would be crying so that he could enjoy her tears once more. How about I beatbox you how that makes me feel? Yep. That's all I have to say on that matter. Moving on. After the tuition deadline has passed and Linda returns the stolen money to Layla, Matthias, the soul-sucking demon, makes his move. he gets his butler, Hessen, to have the guy they hired to snoop on Linda come forward to the authorities as a witness. Linda is then under fire and the Edmonds' reputation tarnished, hurting Layla, Bill, Kyle, Dr. Edmond, This man ruins the lives of so many people. He is actually a general purpose bomb. Everything he does is bad. Not once have we even seen him do any part of his, ducal duties. Dookie duties, that he does indeed. Pushing 22, are we? Yeah, okay. Bill pulls up at the Edmond house and confronts Linda, which Kyle overhears, and he's not too pleased with the fact that his mother ruined his life. Who would have thought? Apparently not her. The authorities arrive with Dr. Edmond to take Linda into custody. Kyle's dad, equally devastated, tries to talk to his wife, but even now, she wails about how it's everyone's fault but her own. Rose about to start blaming the dust mites in her sheet for her actions. The lack of accountability is astounding, okay? It's genuinely impressive. She could get up, punch someone in the face, and be like, well, actually, it was the Wayne, and it changed the atmospheric pressure, and, that made my arthritis. That made my arthritis flare up. And I had to stretch my fist because it was cramping from the arthritis. Okay, lady. So, eventually, Layla decides she'll try the exam again when she has enough money to pay for her own accommodations, because Kyle and her were going to marry and live together. And, she was going to pay for her own tuition, but they were going to share accommodation. She chooses not to press charges against Linda. And, Lila's not as forward with her feelings as Kyle, so it's a little harder to say, but it does sound like she does have feelings for him. Again, it's hard to say, but she was literally bedridden 4 days after that happened, so we're left off with a little bit of a last cry from Matthias. Last fart, maybe in his case. As of today, the potential marriage between Layla Whelan and Kyle Edmond has crossed a point of no return. It also meant that every piece of fortune that Layla may have enjoyed had now vanished. Layla's wings had been clipped. Look at my finger putting that up. Yeah, I'm catching a little whiff of disgusting asshole in the air. Usually towards the end of a video, I would go into more of a discussion, retrospective type of conversation about what we've just endured. However, as I've alluded to at the start of this video, I've had many technical difficulties. When I really tried to save it, guys. And the worst part is, I even had a guest, one of the cool members of the Epic Discord server, offered to join and discuss this whole thing. And I really do want, I want to see if I can try to save the footage, because long story short, I left the monitoring feature on in OBS. You don't need to know what that is, but you hear my voice twice all the time throughout the entire thing. And I'm not going to ask her to do all of that again, so I'm going to try to edit it and post it on its own, because if I do manage to save it, it's going to take quite a while, and I don't want to delay this video anymore because of that. But either way, Candy, thank you for discussing. Even though it might not be on here, I will try to save it. If I can, I will be posting it somewhere. We'll figure that out. But also won't be going to a retrospective because of the way I had to do this video. A lot of it is more commentary instead of you reading the comic along with me, like us reading together. And that is just because I didn't want to record myself rereading the whole thing. So I was like, well, I'll just explain what's going on. Also, a lot of it is kind of useless and it would have stretched out the video for no reason. So that's what we're doing. What else is there to say that has not been said already? Is what what else is there to say? And to that I say, not much. Not much. I've done 3 videos on that, which is combined, that's probably more video than any other comic. Excited to move on is an understatement. I just want to move on from this damn comic. One thing I will say about the collab is Candy sent me this picture. And I do feel a need to include it because it is just too relevant. Since he keeps comparing her to a bird, well, thanks for watching. Hopefully it was decent. And see you next time for literally anything but this damn comic.